everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kathy Wells, Editor-in-Chief of OEM Off-Highway magazine, and welcome to Day 3 of the spring installment of OEM Off-Highway's OEM Industry Summit, the premier educational event for off-highway equipment designers and engineers. Throughout the course of the summit, OEM Off-Highway, our session sponsors, and our expert speakers will deliver sessions ranging a broad spectrum of topics. All sessions are being recorded and will be available on demand to registered attendees. To catch today's sessions or any you may have missed earlier this week, please be sure to register at oemsummit.com. A couple of tips before we get started. Our presentation this morning will feature slides with audio from our presenter. You will note that your view within the system is customizable, so please feel free to adjust the layout and engage with different windows to meet your viewing preferences. You may submit questions for our presenter at any time during the presentation using the Q&A section on your screen, and we'll answer as many of those as possible. And last but not least, please be sure to check out the related content section for some additional information and resources there. At this time, I'm excited to open this morning's session, Mastering Service Excellence, How OEMs Can Drive Customer Loyalty and Boost After-Sales Revenue, presented by Eduardo Melendez. This session is sponsored by Proemion and will explore essential measures that can take your service strategy to the next level. As I mentioned, our speaker this morning, Eduardo Melendez, is a field application engineer at Proemion. Ed, we're happy to have you here with us today. So at this time, I'd like to officially hand over the controls to you to get things started with some introductions. Ed, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Yep, like Kathy says, I'm Ed. So today I'm going to be talking about a couple of things, as Kathy said. So initially, telling you guys a little bit about who Proemion is, what service excellence is, some strategies, and of course just kind of ending it up by just summing it up, and of course some questions and answers, and hopefully you guys have questions, please. I think you guys can see a Q&A somewhere in your field. If you customize it and add it, you can look for it. If you don't find it, there's probably a menu button somewhere. To ask questions, you can ask questions throughout the webinar, and we'll get to that to the end. So again, as Kathy mentioned, I'm Eduardo. Field application engineer at Proemion. I've been at Proemion close to 8 years, or actually over 8 years now. Located in Germany, in Fulda, so right in the middle of Germany. And I know my German accent might surprise some of you guys. I learned it in the U.S. It's surprising, but yeah. So I'm really excited to share a couple of topics today. So Proemion. We're a telematics manufacturer, so not only on the hardware, but also on the platform side. And we're doing this for OEMs globally, right? Not just the European market and the US market, which is our main focus, but also OEMs worldwide, and also OEMs that are producing in our general markets, US and Europe. They're not only shipping their machines to their home countries, they're shipping machines globally, right? So your system has to be a global system. And this is what we are providing, right? Which is the TCUs, the telematic control units, plus our platform. The portal is the visualization of that for the machine owners, the dealers, and also the OEMs alike. And in addition, also, there's the ability to get real-time insights as either diagnostics information or just kind of data logged throughout the whole kind of journey of telematics. So this is our main focus, and we've been doing this for many years. A hardware manufacturer since '97 with CAN-based systems. A telematics kind of focus since the beginning of 2000. So now looking at 25 years of telematics, which is I think a really great journey from us, and we've had a lot of excellent history and historic projects that we've done in the past before IoT was even a term. So what is service excellence? So it's what's allowing OEMs to differentiate themselves, right? Providing the best service, making sure that they're proactive with any issues with the machines, that they can build loyalty to the machines owners so that they are buying more of the machines. This is a general goal for any organization, that that they're their customers that they are gaining are going to continue to be customers for many years. And that is what service excellence is really about. And not only that, but also there's a lot more opportunities for revenue growth after sales, right? So that is, you sell the machine, right, the one-time cost, but also after the fact, right? There are tons of opportunities for revenues, whether it be service contracts, spare parts, other online services that you can provide. And this is a really key differentiator, and it shifts telematics from a cost center to a value driver, right? So a lot of our OEMs that install it and see really the value, they wonder why they didn't do it sooner, essentially, because they're either making more money or they're saving a lot more money. But to start off, one of the first strategies that I'm going to bring up is digital maintenance planning. I think this was what I talked about in our last OEM Summit in the fall, or one of the other webinars. I can't be sure anymore. But this is something that a lot of OEMs do not have. They don't have a digital maintenance planning, right? They have a handbook, and maybe they have a ticket system, but it's not connected. There's a lot of manual steps, right? And this is slow, error prone, it's unscalable, and there's definitely solutions for that, right? So OEMs that are having data connected, right? Getting, if it's operating hours, if it's other triggers for maintenance planning, whether it be kilometers or error codes that occur, these are all triggers, and they should be then automatically going into some workflow for reduced downtime. So to be either preventative or be more proactive when there's any issues occurring with the machines. The best case here is that it's integrating into an existing system, right? Whether it be a CRM, I'm thinking like Salesforce has some service packages in there. I have some OEMs that are doing this, or a completely in-house built ticketing system because they've been building machines for many years. There was no existing system, so they kind of built it themselves, right? So there's a lot of different systems out there. So a system has to be flexible for that. And that's what we offer, right? And so for a customer of ours, as an example here, we want to take Doppstadt. Doppstadt has telematics connected. Every machine is connected with telematics. They have their own ticket system, which is running on like a custom Microsoft SharePoint add-on. And without telematics, it's a manual process of, checking which machine needs service, and then it gets put down the line of, who's going to maintain this machine, who's going to go to the machine, who's going to call the owner, when is it going to be scheduled into the whole cycle, and what spare parts do we need for this task. This is now automated, right? So the service tickets are created directly from the telematics system. So data's being pushed to their integrated to their system via APIs. Then the workflows are a lot faster. Their customers, get the call, get the service that they need. In one case, and particularly Doppstadt, there's a customer that was complaining that, hey, I don't want this, right? So they had to kind of put them on hold. They're still creating the ticket, and they're going to track, this opportunity over time, and maybe reach out in another 2 years, but they don't want to lose this opportunity. And this is where you got to have a flexible enough system to be able to handle this. And this is tremendous for them, right? So they're saving travel costs because they know where machines are. They can service them. In some cases, if there's an issue, they can do a remote diagnostic session to those machines. This is going to be one of the other strategies, so a little sneak peek there for you guys. And of course, reduction in downtime, right? And not only that, right? If there's an issue, you want to, and the machines, you want to make sure that the downtime is reduced as much as possible with a first-time fix, or even remotely, in essence. But yeah, this is the first case study, and there's the 4 strategies I'm going to discuss, and I didn't bring this up earlier, but they are on our website at proemion.com. So on the website, top left, there's case studies or customer stories, success stories, whatever it's called now. You can ask marketing what that is today. They love to change things, right? And there we have like case studies, videos, And all of the stories we have here are shared on there. So this is public. The next strategy of number 2 of the 4 is remote diagnostics, right? So this is a big one, right? And this is to me like a biggest cost saver. And this is what is underutilized with a lot of OEMs. And or they don't even know that it's possible for telematics, and or their diagnostic system is incompatible with the telematics system they have today, right? So what are the pain point here? It's traveling, right? A lot of the OEMs that at least we work with have like really big machines. You can't just ship it over to a service station, or the service station is quite far away. So there's some costs involved regarding getting to the machine, right? And that also introduces delays, right? You go to the machine, you find out what's the problem, come get your parts, right? I think I'm probably preaching to the choir if there's OEMs here, right? They know the pain points. I don't have to tell. But what does a telematics solution actually do for that, right? And I think there's a lot of them that do some diagnostic side. And many times when I hear diagnostics, I'm just hearing error codes, right? But it's so much more than that. Right? It's for us, it's connecting to your tool that you use for diagnostics, right? If it's, say you're getting a controller from Danfoss +1, this is the +1 service tool. This is how you commission the machine, how you configure settings of the machine, and also you can read also diagnostic error codes, clear error codes, everything that you would physically have connected to when you're at the machine. This is what diagnostics is. And the ability to do absolutely everything remotely is critical for diagnostics, and it saves the cost of going to the machine. And in many cases, I think we had a case study, I think we still use as the general reference, and it hasn't really changed. But in general, 30% of the cases can be fixed remotely. It's machine user error. Where they push the wrong button, they didn't read the manual. This can be fixed or assessed remotely, so that there's zero downtime essentially. And for the rest, right, you have more data, you have more information, so that when you get to the machine, it's fixed the first time, right? This is the first time fix approach, with the goal being faster responses. And we generally have, I'm very proud to say, we have a lot of cases where we've connected to or allowed the connection to service tools. Kaiser Teleservice is one that I'm not really familiar with myself, but because this is Kaiser's tool, right? Kaiser has their diagnostics tool, and they built it in-house. And what we offered with our telematics modem was basically a little driver that connects to our APIs, and it's a little package. They put it into their tool. They log in with their Proemion credentials. They see which machines they have access to, and then they are allowed to do a remote bidirectional communication through that service tool. And what this does is, of course, all the things we talked about above, which is like saving travel costs, being able to do remote fixes, firmware updates. But there's like a hidden one, which is training costs. Right. If there's new tools and your organization's huge, you got to train this organization on a new tool. And this is costly. This takes time, and there's a lot of pushback from people who have been there for a long time. They say, no, this is how we do it. We're not going to change. This eliminates that. It's like, use the same tool. You can now do it remotely. And we have this for Kaiser. Doppstadt, the case that we had beforehand, they have a service tool customized from ourselves. We call the remote service tool. They have their tool that's white labeled called the Diagnostics. +1 service tool is directly integrated through our device. So our device is fully capable. In many cases, it's just like a little driver to connect to those service tools to connect it. So this is a big one, saves costs, and I think I might touch on this later. It allows to potentially sell some additional services, right? Remote service. Instead of going to the machine, let's do it remotely. I'll charge you money for it. Next in our strategies are spare parts and after sales. So here, of course, the pain points are Especially I remember in 2020 during the whole COVID era, it just took forever to get anything. And there's global shortages around the world, right? And knowing what you needed ahead of time was critical. It's improved now, of course, but knowing what parts you need ahead of time, and being able to plan is still highly critical. It's going to save organizations money as well, and connecting those 2 points I just discussed, right? Maintenance, like scheduled maintenance and for preventative measures, or even unscheduled maintenance plus remote diagnostics. Using those two and utilizing those two in the best way will ensure you or inform you as a OEM organization which parts you need, right? You as an OEM every 500 hours this machine needs some lubricants, it needs some spare part changes. If something breaks, what that part is. And if we can get this data, right, push it to you immediately, then you know what to get, what to order, what to have in stock for your customers to be able to buy this. And here, the tricky thing now, and I think this is a challenge, and what a lot of customers are facing is like, how do we connect the two? How do we integrate parts to telematics? And there's a couple of our customers doing just that, which is they have an online spare parts shop. They link maintenance and maintenance tasks to those. This is driving spare parts revenue, right? And the next case study I want to share with you is Bergmann, right? So they call their telematics B Connect, so Bergmann Connect, as I understand it. It's a premium power telematics. This is a seamless integration to their downfall service tool, so they can connect through remote diagnostics directly through this device. They are also having a spare parts site called B Parts and B Service. This is their spare parts and their services offering for after sales services. And what they have achieved is the ability to do a one-click order, right? So there's a new maintenance task, right? We know what needs to be done on the machine from telematics. This links to their system, so they just click from their telematics side, one click, connect to B Parts, and they have some parts in their shopping cart, right? And they're not alone, right? I have some other customers that have achieved this, and the pity is there's a lot of customers that are not so far, right? They're not thinking about spare parts, and this is a really big opportunity when we can connect the two. So we want to figure out some ways of how do we make something generic that everybody can use, but the opportunity is there, right? And this is going to increase their sales, less downtime, of course, because they, when they can deliver the spare parts, the machine's going to be operating a lot better over the long run. And when your machine is working and it's downtime is low or even non-existent, and it's a really great machine, this is going to produce better loyalty on your machine. Your customers are going to want to buy more of your machines because they work, right? They don't want something that's not working. And last but not least of our 4 key strategies for leveling up your service offering is diversified service products, right? So we were joking before the call, right? Like, when you get a car and 2 years, 3 years, 5 years after you bought it, you get a familiar phone call, right? Like, I'm calling about your car's extended warranty. This is, nobody really wants that. But you want your car to be running for, forever, right? You made an investment, you want your car to be running, and maintenance is part of this, right? Things wear down. What I've seen with some customers is like they're willing to pay for service packages, like when you buy a car or a vehicle or a machine. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. Kathy made me laugh. When you buy a car, machine, immediately you have the ability of like, hey, do you already want to buy your extended warranty, right? Do you want to buy our gold package? Because anytime there's a problem, we got like somebody looking at our command center dashboards, making sure your machine's up and running. There's ability to offer that level of packages, and some customers are doing so, right? This command center or uptime center, blah, blah, bloop, whatever they want to call it, right? It's in the end, it's like we are making sure we got 20 eyes looking at your machine, making sure that everything's running up and running, because this is mission critical to your operations. So this is something we want to focus. This is the ability to offer those different services powered through telematics. And this is an additional revenue stream, right? So some customers or some may be thinking this is a monthly subscription, right? What it includes already, you're already pre-purchasing spare parts. So in the end, you want to be able to estimate the cost of your machines, right? If you don't want any unplanned costs, and if offering a package to guarantee this, this can be very attractive to some customers. But in any case, here we have the case study of CIFA, so it's an Italian customer, and they have their fleet management system, and they're offering real-time data, maintenance, diagnostics, so productivity tracking, and they are offering different service levels based off that, right? But not only them, many others. It's great, right, to see this, and what we're making the shift, and we're trying to shift everybody in the industry in telematics is not about like, okay, fleet management and seeing telematics as a cost, but like where does telematics really drive value, right? Where can it save us money? Where can it make us money as an organization, right? And not only there, but also in the downstream, right? For us, the important stakeholders are OEM, dealers, and machine owners. And a successful telematics launch has to hit all three of them, and it's got to drive value to all of them, right? Machine owners are not going to make money from telematics unless they're kind of selling their services, right? They're buying a machine that has an output, and if it's up and running all the time, of course, it's going to generate them more revenue. But if the machine's not breaking down, this is going to reduce the costs, of course, right? And if we can make any guarantees, now that we have data, then this is that it won't break down. This makes it a lot more like of an easier sell to customers of the machines. So some closing statements, and I think I'm really quick on time. I'm not sure what my allotted time was, but I feel like I was flying through, and I apologize now. Maybe I'm a little bit late that I'm talking so fast, but I think thanks, Ellie. I think this is an American audience, so they can understand me. Most of the Europeans, I have to kind of slow down a little bit to make sure, they're understanding every word. And understand it's sometimes fast. But in closing, right, like some of the, just to tack on some of the points we were talking about, is that service excellence is a competitive advantage to OEMs, right? This is a differentiator. This goes beyond the cost, right? It's about the total cost of the machine, and also the loyalty, and also kind of like making sure your customers, they don't just buy your brand just because it fit the price, but because they know it's going to perform. Next point, drives revenue and loyalty and uptime, right? Telematics makes it scalable and proactive. So your service offering, because without the live data, it's there's going to be a bottleneck there, of course, and your service can be a growth engine. And this is what we see also. By the way, for the Bergmann case, the growth engine there being you're not now limited to your region, right? This allows you to remote diagnostics, remote service allows you to expand into new networks, new markets, rather. And we actually have an excellent case study on that regarding Bergmann. So another kind of a little plug for our website. It has everything, Proemion.com. But yeah, so I hope you guys found my little 20 minutes here entertaining. I hope there's some questions from the audience to ask. And before I open up the questions, and I see Kathy just turn on her mic or her camera, I want to point to our LinkedIn page at Proemion, where we have a lot of news. One of the cool news is that we are going to have a summit of our own. We're still in OEM Industry Summit energy because I love it, and we're going to have a summit, a live summit in Frankfurt, where customers are going to be able to come and network internally, and customers are going to present directly some of their solutions here. So I mentioned a few of them here, even like Doppstadt, Goldhofer, Ditch Witch from the US will be in the house, traveling over from the US to Frankfurt. This will be Thursday. There's a few seats open, and we might tell you where to find where to register in many cases, but look out on LinkedIn for things like that, and we'll follow up via email after this show. Kathy, please, you want to say something?
Thank you, Ed. First of all, we're happy to share the summit energy. I'm glad you got a chance to mention that.
Yeah.
Awesome presentation here, and lots for OEMs to consider kind of moving forward. But we do have some questions to get to, a few of them stacked up here. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and begin the Q&A. And attendees, if you haven't submitted your question yet, bust it out, send it in. Let's get it in front of Ed, and we'll get to as many as we can, okay? Ed, if you're ready, we'll just jump right in here, starting with what steps should be taken to shift from reactive service to proactive service using telematics?
To be honest, I don't know. But
that's true.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, good question. So reactive is definitely like without data, right? Your customer's calling you and there's a problem and they're angry and everything's urgent, right? This is reactive. And nobody wants that. Customer doesn't want that. You don't want that. You want to know there's a problem beforehand, right? And that comes from data, right? We need to be logging the right data. If we're talking like direction predictive stuff, that's still up in the air. I think we're getting a lot closer now, but like industry-wide, like generic, just plug in, like you get predictive stuff. That's not the case. This is still a lot of data science involved, customer projects, and then we can enable this. But yeah, it's first getting the data so that we can push the data to the right funnels where we can actually react proactively.
All right, awesome. Okay, let's move. No, you got it. Let's move to the next question here. All right, this one's asking, I have a small operation. Does your maintenance feature also make sense for me?
That's a great question, right? And nobody starts immediately with everything anyway, right? So there's some organizations that have even, they have a large fleet of machines and they just kind of start with just one particular model, let's say. But even so, right, say you're a small organization, I think it's even more critical, right? Because being small means you have less resources, which means you need to make the most out of everything, right? And I think it is still rather critical to do so. And this, I think, is another kind of point. This helps you scale, right? This is a scaling factor for you to get more business, because I think this is the general goal anyway.
Yeah, and that data, whether it's maintenance or whatever it may be, helps with that proactive response instead of that reactive response too.
Proactive with Proemion. Oh, what?
New tagline. All right, next up, let's see. If I've got a few service tools I'm using, how can I connect to all of them through your gateway?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, right? And I think this is like the biggest, I love somebody ask that question, right? Yeah, our gateway is, since many years, right, very kind of open, right? We're controller agnostic. We have some controller variants that the devices already have. And And the reality is that machines have more than one controller, right? And that means also more than one service tool. And putting 3, 5 different TCUs, telematic units, on a machine just to have specific. Sorry. Oh, I got a Charlie horse on my leg. Oh, I don't know why.
That'll stop you in your tracks. I know it.
And yeah, so this is the way I was sitting. It was strange. So yeah, it's critical to be able to do all this, and so what's great about it, our system is it allows that, right, in an open way, and even have a tool that's used primarily for proof of concepts, but even like if you want to just have a remote CAN trace, it allows that direct connection, bidirectional connection to any tool through the tool. So yes, our tool can connect to multiple service tools at a time.
Great. Well, and this may be a little bit more of the same here, but another question is, and it might be the same for a lot of people too. I already have telematics. Can I bring my devices to your platform so I can get some of the benefits?
Oh yeah. So this is a different case, right? So this is like not telematics from Proemion, but rather like I'm talking hardware, right? Like a phone. Bring your own phone to work. But rather you have 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 connected assets already with some other black box that's connected to the machine. It's got GPS, it's got some data. It probably doesn't have a remote diagnostics, but it's got data, right? And it's driving some value. And now in many cases, what we see is our platform and our portal is become a very strong product in itself. Where it's something we also kind of have for OEMs, right? Where OEMs that have a need and a very broad need for different capabilities via APIs or special projects, they can bring in their existing data. We can pump it in or integrate those devices to connect directly to Proemion services, in addition to some advanced diagnostics or advanced telematics devices that we can sell directly from our end to achieve the high-end diagnostic sessions. But so the answer is yes. And there's already quite a few different devices, custom devices off the shelf that we've already integrated.
Nice. Okay, I think we've got time for about one more question. I'm going to squeeze it in here. Can I connect the data to my internal systems, so ERPs or ticket systems, etc.?
Yeah. So APIs, right? That's what the API is for. And it surprises me that some systems don't have such an extensive API, because this is what the industry wants. Not everybody has the same ERP system that has to connect to a specific thing, or ticket system. They want to be able to flexibly get the data, push the data wherever they want. And not only that, it's bidirectional as well on the platform side, right? So you might be wanting to send data from your device, right, or from your cloud, or from the Proemion cloud to your ERP system, but also your ERP system might want to create a service ticket, right, a maintenance item, or close a maintenance item. Right, it's been done on the ticket system. Let's close it on the Proemion system, which is customer facing, and so the customer knows ticket has been closed. And in the future, when somebody comes back with a warranty claim and they see, yeah, they skipped every maintenance item, it's not going to be included in their maintenance or in the warranty period. So it just offers a lot more data, and it's completely flexible. So this is what our OEMs truly value, the flexibility of our entire system.
Okay, I love it. All right, that does it for questions today, which will bring our webinar to a close. I'd like to thank our very excellent speaker, Ed Melendez, for his expert insights here today. Attendees, you can look for an email from us shortly with access to the playback and presentation from this session, but please also feel free to visit oemoffhighway.com to check out more on this topic and browse other topics in our bank of educational webinars. And if you missed any sessions throughout this week's summit, Remember, you can always register at any time to view them on demand at your convenience. And to register in advance for the fall installment of the OEM Industry Summit, it's taking place later in the year, October 28th through 30th. Please visit oemsummit.com. I hope to see you all there. Thanks again to our fantastic speaker, Ed Melendez, and thank you all for taking the time to join us. This concludes our session and the spring installment of the OEM Industry Summit. See you next time.